Such a pro.
I'm proud of you. You're a pro. You have the right background. I'm so proud of you. Woohoo! Hello. We're going to wait. I know we're going live on a bunch of different places. Good to see everybody. Definitely a beautiful day here in Florida.
She just can't resist saying it.
It's going to be 82 here today.
Really?
Can't help it. It's beautiful. All right. If you're listening, we would love to hear who you are, where you're from, what kind of business you have. You can just leave a comment so we can see who's listening. Hello, Camille. Hey, Natasha. Everything. Yeah. She finally has the right background, right? So, all right. Well, welcome. Yeah, right. It's like about time. All right. So today we're going to talk about your sales process sucks, and here's 10 tips on how to fix it. The reality is we always talk about it's a sad reality in a way, but it's the reality that most people suck at sales. They're just not good at it. And the good news is that you can practice and get better at it. That's the great thing. And people that are good at persuasion and sales sometimes still need help with structure, right? So when we look at businesses that are under six figures, normally there's a few reasons why they aren't good at sales, or they can't scale their business. I mean, one, they don't have the confidence. Two, they don't have the right offer. Three, they don't know how to find leads. And four, they don't know how to sell. Those are really the four main reasons why.
Can I add a fifth? I think we need to talk a little bit about sales mindset too.
Yeah, which is kind of under four, which is sales as a whole. We're going to dig into sales. But to me, the four main reasons why people fail building a six-figure business is confidence, offer, lead gen, and sales. Like those are the four main reasons why people struggle. And the reality is those are all fixable. If you have the right team, if you have the right coaches, if you have the right skill sets, right? So we just talk about you have to gain confidence, you have to gain skills. You do those two things, you can build any business you want, right? And the good news is lead gen and marketing and sales skills are really important because no matter what you do in life, these are skills that you can take everywhere with you. We ready?
Yeah. I'm ready to dive in.
That was like delayed reaction.
Well, I'm like, when are we not ready? When are we ever not ready?
I'm ready. I was born ready.
You're ready.
I think when it comes to confidence,
to be ready.
Yeah. I mean,
we should put pump up music.
We should
you
make
could
this
probably create a rap on sales, Tanya.
Okay, I'm on it. Next after this, I'll create it and we'll post it.
We'll see how we'll see how pumped up people get in the chat and in the comments, and then we'll figure out what the rap is. So if we get a lot of pumped up people that are giving us a lot of comments, we'll wrap at the end of it.
All right, sounds good.
I like that. All three of us, we could do one of those like we did our holiday video.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you said the first part of it's confidence, and a big part, I think, of the mindset, it goes with confidence, right? And I think a lot of times when people first start off in sales, they have a lot of misconceptions of sales, right? And they need to shift their mindset and look at it in a different way, right? Like a lot of people, when they think about sales, they think, oh, well, I have to have like the gift of gab. Like I have to really, be able to talk and persuade and, really be able to do that. But really in reality, you actually have to be a really good listener, and I think that's like the number one myth and first thing to shift your mindset and that'll build up your confidence, because the more that you can show who the people that you're talking to, you're actually listening to them, the higher the chance that you're going to get the sale, right? And I think a lot of people also go into sales without confidence because they might not have the clarity, right, in what they're doing and their offer. And I think it's so important. You have to know the audience that you're targeting. You have to really know, like, what are their pain points? What is their emotions? What is it that they really need from you? And I think shifting that mind perspective that you're going into that call selling them to say, okay, you know what? I have something that they need. You know, I have something that I'm going to provide. And just knowing that there's so many people out there that need you, and that will really raise your confidence, I think. What do you guys think? Those are just a couple things.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the chicken and egg
That was
thing
like
too.
that was a load of stuff, so I'm
Yeah,
still
it was a lot.
digesting all of that.
Okay.
There was a lot.
I have
right
so
there.
much about
I know.
sales, guys. I could talk about sales for like 3 hours.
But I mean, like,
Well, it's funny because we'll look at what Tash says. Like she
Yeah.
knows introverts who are super good at sales. Like I'm an introvert and I'm good at sales. So I
Yeah.
do think that, yeah. Sorry,
but I
guys,
like
go
that
on.
you start with confidence though. And I like that both of y'all started with confidence because like the way you go into the sales call has a lot to do with how the sales call ends up. How you know, the way you show up, just, you know, I know we're big on energy and, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just another word for kind of like what you're putting out, like how you're coming across. And if you're awkward or scared or nervous, you know, you can feel it in a call. I only know that because I've done it. And, you know, it's like, but if you're going in with that really confident feeling, and I mean, that's one of the things that I think we're particularly good at for the people who keep showing up, coming to the calls and working with us. We really can help them create that confidence. You have to be able to go into the call feeling like I have what I need to accomplish the goal in this call. And therefore I can be useful to this person and not waste their time. That's a good feeling. And everything goes better when you come in confident.
Yeah.
Everything.
Let me share what I do before calls. I mean, it helps me. It might help someone out there listening. I love to look through our testimonials. I go on our page, I look through our testimonials, I watch a handful of videos, and I have a list of my strengths. And I look at that and I'm like, this is what I personally deliver, but this is what as an organization we deliver. Like, look at the reviews. And I go into that call feeling really good about what I have and really confident. Now, if you're out there and you're like, well, Tanya, I'm just starting out. Like, I don't have any reviews yet. Like, what are you talking about? What am I looking at? Well, then you look within yourself, right? The strengths and what, you're going to bring to them benefit wise, because we always want to lead with that. And then of course I listen to some pump up music, but that's a whole other story.
He must have read Camille's mind. Did you see her comment? As you were saying that, she goes, how would you suggest one works on their confidence in sales? What tasks or activities would you recommend?
Yes, those are those are a couple of tasks and activities, Camille. Pump it out to music. Do a little bit of working out and movement before. Write your list. You have testimonials, Camille. You have great
that piece already.
Yeah, you have
well,
great.
I want to add to this too. Like part of confidence to me is having confidence in your offer and having confidence in yourself. I actually did a TikTok. I haven't posted it yet, so I'll give you kind of the insights of what I say in this. It's actually funny. In my career, I've had a lot of people not believe in me, and I've actually used that as fuel to prove them wrong. Like a perfect example was my soccer coach. Like for whatever reason, he was always really tough on me, didn't always believe in me. And I always proved him wrong, right? He was like, yo, you're not going to make the Olympic team. I made the Olympic team. Oh, you're not going to make the U.S. national team. I made the U.S. Like, I always just kept proving him wrong. And, I ended up becoming freshman All-American. Like, he didn't believe in me at all to do any of that. And whether he did or didn't is another story, right? Whether it was a tactic. And, he's a big reason why I'm successful in business today, to be honest. He taught me a lot of things. But like, even like when my father dropped me off at college, do you want to know what he said to me? He said, you're not going to last a semester in college. I go, I had a 4.2 in high school. Why wouldn't I last in college? He goes, because you don't know how to study, which is true. I would come home from high school. My parents would be like, where's your book? They're at school. Do you have homework? Like I never studied. I never did anything. And I just didn't like school, but I proved them wrong 5 degrees later, right? So like, the list can go on. Like my former business coach now didn't believe in me, so I told him to go F off, and now I'm going to go prove him wrong, right? So it's like sometimes what I've learned in life, it's not about, we have to stop seeking validation from external sources, and we have to start gaining confidence internally. I know we're good at what we do. I don't need anybody out there to tell me I'm good. I know I'm good. And I know that my heart is in the right place, and I'm going to do what it takes to be successful. So that internal confidence makes me confident on the sales call.
So I want to say something about that before we move into the next thing, what you just described, because a lot of times we'll hear from clients and students kind of excuses and sometimes it has to do with maybe how they grew up or things that happen, or they lack confidence because of this or that. And I really want everybody to hear what you just said, which is that you took, because don't you know, I mean, all three of us know people who could take the experience you had and turn it into the reason they're not successful and use it as the reason. And instead, it's like, how do I take whatever negative experiences I've had or challenging experiences I've had and turn it into fuel, like turn it into like motivation almost. And so I really want that. I just want to call that out, because like, it's like, even before the confidence, it's like Tanya talks about, it's the mindset of what you think about yourself, before you're trying to get confident around a sales call. It really, as much as there are definitely things you can do to get ready for a call, in the end, it's really what you guys are describing, which is that internal belief system. It's like, I have what I need. I'm good at what I do. I can deliver on this. And you have to remind yourself of that. But I just love that you didn't, that's not, that wasn't an excuse for you. You just said it's literally helped you create success in business. Some people would use it as the reason they're not.
Yeah. And here's the way I look at it, right? Like, if you have a product or service or what you're doing, and if it's viable, then there are people out there who are the perfect fit. And that's who you're looking to talk to, right? You're not looking to fit or, someone who's around into a square peg hole, right? The right fit's out there for what you have, right? I know often people are trying to adjust their offers 10 million times. I think that's a problem, right? We got to talk to the right people. And there are people with a problem that you can solve. Just know that there are so many people out there that need you. And there are people that are out there that are going to be able to achieve success in whatever it is that you do and offer and avoid failure because of you. Yeah. And like, tell yourself that in the mirror, Camille. Say, I have people out there that need me for their mindset and fitness, and they're busy women and they need me. And that's where that will fuel you to get on the call.
Yeah. And I think
I want to say one thing too, like Natasha said in the beginning, take all sales calls. This is what we tell everybody, like super, super important that you understand. So here's a few things. Everybody, we have a student who recently was like, oh, I'm going to outsource sales. I'm not good at it. I'm like, that's the biggest mistake you can do. You have to get good at sales, because no matter what you're doing, sales is part of everyone's job, right? Mm-hmm. And especially as a CEO, whether you're doing frontline sales or not, at some point have to do sales. Think about it. Sales is in hiring. Sales is in creating a board. Sales is getting funding. Sales is getting leads. Sales is literally, you're selling yourself every day. That sounds a little weird, but like you're literally selling. I'm selling myself every day, whether it's for a business or not. I'm selling to my wife that I want to go to restaurant X and she wants to go to Y. I'm selling to her, this is why we need to go to X, right? Like, sales is in everything we do. And it's a good skill to learn no matter what. So outsourcing is a good job or good. And also, like, how do you manage somebody if you're not good at it? How do you give them feedback if you're not good at it? Like, you have to at least be decent at it in order to scale a business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk through.
Okay, did you see Natasha's comment? She goes, "My daughter's 3 and sells every morning for her to eat chocolate."
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's cute.
So I think, my thought process is, look, we're talking about your sales process, not just sales, because sales is not. Then that's the biggest mistake, is when people think that like sales is just one piece. Sales is a whole process. And if you think, hold on.
Bless you.
I said, they normally come in 2s and 3s, so we'll see if it comes back. But if you think sales is that one phone call, you already blew it, right? Sales is before, sales is during, sales is after. And like, sales can't just be a phone call nowadays. Now, when you're just getting started, I always tell people, just get people on the phone. Get people on the phone. Don't worry about the process. Don't worry about it's like, build it over time. Don't get overwhelmed. Oh, I need a funnel. I need emails. I need this. Like, don't get overwhelmed. Start first by getting people on the phone. If you manually want to send a thank you email and you have 2 or 3 emails that you send yourself manually when you're first getting started, fine, do that. You could eventually create an automated system after. But the first step is get as many people on the phone as possible to start to understand, is my offer good? Does my offer solve a problem that my audience actually has? Because as entrepreneurs, sometimes, I hate to bring it to you guys, who sometimes want to solve problems that just don't exist. Right? So first step is just get as many sales processes or sales calls as possible, and then slowly build the process. We had another student who was really stubborn and who like dove right into the sales process, like almost took our like whole, hey, here's the steps you got to do, and like basically went from step 1 to step 10, was like built out this whole sales process, and then found out like his offer sucked, right? And then had to go all the way back, and we're like, well, that's not what we told you to do. First step is jump on the phone, make sure you have a good offer, then start to build the sales process around that, right? Sometimes we feel like we have to like have this whole system in place when we don't.
No, I mean, testing the offer is important, and timing's everything, right? So when we talk about, lead generation and bringing people into a sales process, it's that awareness stage, that beginning stage when a prospect realizes that they have a problem, right? Like with Camille, like that they want to get in shape, right? Or like their business is falling apart, whatever it is. So it is timing too, and your messaging to grab these people in. But of course, I mean, I agree.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're offering, you can be great at sales, but if you're offering something somebody doesn't want or need, it's not going to work. So you do have to make sure your offer, you got to have a good product market fit. So it's kind of a chicken and egg too. You got to know what market you're serving so that you can make sure that what you're selling fits that market and their needs, and you communicate it effectively. So to Alexa's point, like it's not just a sales call, because I mean, you got to have your offer figured out, and this is something you'll hear Tanya talks about all the time. Clarity breeds confidence. You got to get really clear on who the audience is, what their pain points are, how you solve for it. And when you have that, the confidence is just there. You're like, I got this. I know, like Camille says, we got this. It's
yeah. And that in that beginning stage of taking those sales calls, what you should be doing is collecting the data, actively listening and understanding what really are their pain points, and having these conversations with them and understanding what the timing is, right? Because the timing is everything. Because, if you come in too early, they probably won't be receptive to you, right? If you reach them too late, you might lose them to a competitor. So I think that the best thing that you can do in taking these early calls, even if you're unsure if you're hitting the right audience, is really practice the uncovering questions and digging and really listening and really taking that data and saying, okay, does this align with what I'm offering?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and I think, and this is where Alexa is better equipped, but getting people to a sales call is still part of the sales process.
Some days, it depends.
Now, lead gen, like lead gen for real, like getting people on a call, that's it. There's a lot to it. It's not, it's not complicated, but this is something we said the other day, right? And one of the things, you got to be aggressive. You've got to, we think it's like asking for the order on the call. No, you got to be aggressive before that. You got to ask for the order, meaning I got to get you on a call. I got to give you a reason to want to have a conversation with me and see if I'm a good fit for you or you're a good fit for me, and what, how we can work together. So I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so let's go through the sales process, right? There's a lot of different things that could be broken in the process, right? And the first is, and this is one of the things we talk about in our program, is your dream client, right? A lot of times we're targeting the complete wrong person. So you either have the wrong audience and the right offer, or the right audience and the wrong offer. It has to have both. You have to have right on both. We have to think about an audience. The audience has a problem, right? And we have to be able to solve that problem. But the trick here is that they have to not only have the problem, but understand they have the problem and want to pay to fix it, right? That's the key. Like there's so many different things.
That's the timing piece. You got to get them at the high of their pain point.
And you got to sell them what they want, but give them what they need. Like, they need this, but they think they need this. And so you got to sell to what they think. Or what they want.
Yeah, but I think that's probably one of the number one things we're talking just straight sales, that bucket of sales that we do wrong, is we're targeting the complete wrong people, right? So it's like, even like on Clubhouse, you go on Clubhouse and you go in the wrong rooms, and like you spend all this time in these rooms. Well, one, most of us aren't even talking. And then secondly, we are in the wrong room. It's like, you're talking to the wrong people. And so that's the first thing. That's why like people pay a lot of money to get in front of certain audiences, because it's the perfect audience for them. And so, that's the first step in my mind is you got to pick the right audience, and then you have to have the right offer for that audience.
I think it comes down to knowing what problem you solve, being really, really clear that this is what I am worth my weight in gold to do for this person. Here's the result I help them get, or here's the service I provide. Here's the pain I relieve. Here's the problem I solve. Once you know what that is, it's a short trip to like, who needs that? Who has that problem? Who's suffering that pain? Who complains about this issue? Who would be willing to pay somebody to eliminate this problem for them? But you got to be super clear on the problem you solve, and not just clear on it, confident in it. I can deliver on this. Then it's just, all right, who's got that problem? Who in the world has that problem?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
once you get them on the call, when it comes to the sales process of being on a call, if we want to kind of just touch upon that before we get to the after part, a couple of things that I noticed, through obviously years of experience in sales, but also our students is, number one mistake I would say in the beginning is not taking control of the call, right? So often I see, and this has happened to me before, so this is why I'm good at teaching it. Somebody come on a prospect come on a call and they just take over the call, and you don't even know what what happened, right? So just really setting the stage of why you're on the call, being really upfront. Part of the sales process, you should have an intake form, guys. An intake form is important. This is going to allow you to collect data ahead of time, so you can be very well equipped to have that conversation, right? And then, another part obviously is the gathering, where we're really asking those questions and, digging into what it is that they're looking for, but what their pain points are. And very often I see people just scraping the surface and not digging beyond and keep going on with like one question and really getting down to the grassroots of what the issue is, and the pain point. So this way you can parallel that to your offer after. So those are like the two things I would say. And then the third thing on a sales call, and I'll be quiet, I swear, is not actually asking for the sale. Yeah. So many people have these conversations and then they get nervous at the end, and they don't even talk about what they have to offer. And they're like, cool, thanks for meeting. So nice to meet you. Guys, don't waste your time. Right. Yep. So I'm a big fan of having a script. It doesn't have to be like super robotic where you're reading from a script, but you definitely want to have like those questions down. You want to have how to overcome the major objections that we all get: time, money, got to ask my spouse, and have it there. All right, I'm done. I'm not done, but you guys.
No, that was all really good. And that's like in the call. And I want to add, one of the biggest mistakes I see after the call is no follow-up. You don't understand. If people don't want to hear from you, they're going to tell you. They're going to say, F off, people, like, leave me alone. That we get discouraged. We're like, oh, they didn't respond after 1, 2. Like, I literally wrote Tanya today, and I'm like, hey, write so-and-so back. I wrote her 5 times. Now it's your turn. Like, we're going to keep going until this person tells us to stop, because she said, I want to work with you guys. And so until she tells us otherwise, we're going to keep writing, because people are busy.
A year and a half is the longest I've like nurtured somebody, because if they don't tell me to, then I'm still on them.
Yeah. Well, that's your timing thing too. Here's the thing.
That's the nurturing.
We can't control when they finally maybe feel motivated to make the decision, but it's our job to be top of mind and in front of them when the decision is made.
Yes.
So we can't control when they're going to make it, but we can control when we're in front of them. And that's exactly what you guys are describing, making sure you're there.
And one of the best things you could do in that nurturing is, first of all, if you did very good job of listening on that call, you're going to understand what their main pain points and objections are, is to use other data, to help them in their objections. So if somebody's like, hey, like, can I talk to somebody that you've worked with, or, the payments, like breaking down whatever it is, providing them with that information after to like ease their mind as well, if you weren't able to do it on the call.
Yeah, I think the fear comes in for if you're on a call with somebody, they want to know if it's going to work. That's most of the time it's not the money. It's like, if I could really know this was going to work and solve my problem, I'd be paying you the money.
They want to know if it's going to work. They want to know how long it's going to take them.
Yeah.
What's the collapse time, and what's the return?
Yeah,
that's what they want to know.
Yep, that's exactly right. And so to your point, you can cover a lot of that in the material before they ever get on the call. Make sure it's on your website or it's in your socials. Like, hey, I was working with this client, they were having this problem, and here's, making sure all that's out there for them so they can be, consuming that before they ever get on the call. and hopefully overcome those objections. But talking about the intake form, I don't want that lost. That is such an important point, Tanya, because like, think of it this way. Don't be shy about asking questions up front before the call and during the call, because think about it.
Yeah.
People love to talk about themselves. They just do. How many of those, back when printed magazines were a thing, how many of them had the quizzes? You go in a doctor's office and that page is always torn out, or somebody took the quiz in the magazine and, they want to take it home or whatever. Like, people love to talk about themselves. Don't be afraid to ask. They'll tell you.
I'll tell you.
They'll tell you more than you want to know sometimes.
That's where you want to get
sometimes way too much.
That's where you want to get them, because that trust factor goes up. You want to get on a relatability. I love feel, felt, found when it comes to sales.
Mhm.
Oh, Deb, oh my gosh, you know what? My other client felt the same way that you were feeling, but what she found was when she came on board with us, that feeling went away, right? Because the XYZ. Like, I love like doing that whole relatability, feel, felt, found, bringing yourself to the level, meeting them where they're at. And making them feel really heard, because that's when they start to open up more. Emotions sell. If you can get somebody to the emotional point of not breaking, which I've had people cry in sales calls before, but it will sell them. It will get them to make that. It'll push them to make that move if they're really feeling that pain, where they're like, "Gosh, you're right. I need this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's to your point about listening, right? How do you sell and convince somebody if you don't actually listen? Your job as a salesperson isn't to convince them. Your job as a salesperson is to allow them to convince themselves they need you.
100%. By the end of the call, they should be like, you know what? Clearly, I need this.
Yeah, and I guess one of the ways
what their problems are.
Yeah, one of the ways to think about it is an objection is really a question. They're asking what you said, Tanya, like, will it work? How long will it take? It's just worded differently, but almost every objection is ultimately a question. And if you can think of it that way, it takes the fear out of it, and you're just there to serve with information and answer the question.
Yes. Yeah. So, we talked about the, beginning part, obviously attracting, the confidence. During the call, we talked about nurturing after, but I just want to make a point, like, after you quote unquote sell someone and they're a customer, it doesn't end there, guys. Because really remember that the first sale is only the beginning of your relationship with a client, and a happy customer will buy again and again and again. And guess what? They're going to be your salesperson for you. They're going to refer people for you, right? So devote energy and imagination to creating memorable experiences for your clients, but also really nurturing them and knowing like the upsell process when they're in your wheelhouse, because it's important. Because that's the best part of marketing, is that. I think in all this,
you almost can think of clients and customers as future potential salesmen for you.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, that's it. It's important.
Yeah, I think that when you think about your sales process, it's an evolution. Like, it's going to take time to get to the point where you have a full-blown system. I still feel like we don't have a full-blown system, even though we do, right? Like, it's a process. You're going to constantly be changing it. You have to be critical of it and constantly be looking at how can I improve the process, but do it over time. I think the biggest mistake people make is they go all in on an offer. They go all in on a sales process. They go all in a CRM, which we never recommend, by the way. I always say the reason why I like Monday.com is because you could do something super simple. Like, you can literally just have a souped up Excel and then add automations later. Where people get in trouble is when they go full-fledged into it and they spend weeks, months building a process out and they don't even have sales yet, right? It's like, no, just get people on the phone. That's your number one job.
Yeah. So I want to address someone's question here really quick, because they asked, what if my business is not a phone sale based, right? Now, I'm not sure what your business is. We asked a couple times here, but I just want to address that really quick. I come from brick and mortar life, not from a phone sale or a Zoom sale. So the process is literally the same. It's all the same, right? So we talk about the first part of the process is attracting people. That's part of your marketing, and it's part of what you put out there, even online and in person, events, etc. And then part of onboarding a client, and or your sales process is the same thing. It's still taking control of the conversation. It's still listening, right? It's still understanding what you provide and what their needs are. So it's really literally all the same process. The nurturing, whether you're nurturing them over email, on the phone, or in person. It's still all the same, process. It doesn't have to just be thought of as like on the phone. This could be all in person too.
Yeah, it's some of that's just outbound, right? Like,
Yeah.
There are people out there who need what you have. If you're brick and mortar, one of my clients is a brick and mortar bakery, and the sales process isn't like, let's get on a phone call. The phone call is the order, right? But everything leading up to that is still part of the sales process, including promotions, specials, email campaigns where you're like, hey, have you ever thought about this as an
Referral
option?
programs.
Yeah.
Other people recommend seeing. Yeah.
But it's still, like you said, it's still knowing what their problem is that you solve, how you help, what, and communicating it in a way where they go, I need that. That's a great idea. I never thought of that, so yeah, good stuff.
Sorry, Alexa. I just want to address that.
No, it's important. I'm like, look, when it comes to sales, I know my lane, so I just let Tanya just go on a rampage. So
talk all day about it.
I'm like, all right, you go, girl. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, sales is important, right? You've got to have the right audience. You have to have the right nurturing. You have to understand how to address objections. You have to follow up. There's so many different things. You have to have social proof. There's just so many different things as part of the process. They don't get overwhelmed. Just do one thing at a time. So every single week, improve one thing in your sales process. But you have to make it a priority. And that's the problem, is a lot of people don't make it a priority. Like, to me, I always say, when you're 0 to 6 figures, the 2 most important pieces of your business is sales and fulfillment. This is like 2 most important things. And actually, it's the most important thing ever in your business, right? And then as you get into 6, multi-6 figures, 7, then people processes are added to that. But as a CEO, the most important thing, 0 to 6 figures, is sales and fulfillment. Those are the most important skills you can learn.
Yeah, 100%. And just remember, if sales, even if that word makes you crazy and you get that weird mindset, change to something else. Sales is just a conversation, and great salespeople, they're relationship builders. This is what you're doing. You're having a conversation and building a relationship. You're a conversationalist. You're listening, and you're inspiring and motivating this potential client to take action to win. That's what you're doing, and you have something that they need.
You've heard me say this before, and I think this is, to me, if you really know what it is you do and you're clear with yourself about your zone of genius and the problem you solve and where your expertise lies, and you know that you can deliver on this promise, you know that you can help this person get this outcome, you wouldn't hesitate on a sales call. I do think confidence is a lot of it, because I often say, like, if I had the cure for cancer, no one would stop me from running all around the world to try to get everybody to hear me, right? Like, I would be annoying about it, right? And so it's like that. It's like, I am so sure that I can help this person with what they're struggling with. I'm not going to hesitate to get on a call with them, because I need it's my duty, to offer what I have, because I know that I can help them solve that problem. I know I can do it. And they may or may not, but there's no hesitation to have the call, because I know what I can do for them. And being able to listen so that you can craft the conversation in a way that helps them see that you can help them is the whole point. Like you said, it's a conversation. And we don't hesitate. Like, you get a piece of good news, or you get a new life hack or something. How quickly are you on the phone with your friends or whatever, and you're going, gosh, did you know this is how you open a jar the right way? Like, did you, that's what, like, TikTok is, all these like life hacks, like these things we did not, like, you don't hesitate to tell them. So it's no different. It's nothing to be afraid of. Just have a conversation.
I just discovered something really cool.
See, she's playing
Are
with
you selling us on something?
No, she's playing with tech. I guarantee it. See?
Are we wrapping
There's
up?
music on this thing.
Oh.
We should have this on the entire time that we are live.
My gosh, we sound so much better with music behind us.
How did we not know that there was music here?
Can we start rapping or something?
I'm done messing around, but I just got so excited.
I told you it was tech. I knew it was.
Yeah, I'm just like playing around. Well, I mean, I don't even need to speak on this live. So, well, all right. So I want one important thing we're missing here, and then we'll wrap this up and summarize all this for you is, and Deb, you're going to appreciate this note. One of the biggest mistakes that you're all making is you're not recording your sales calls. Am I echoing?
Yeah,
I don't hear an echo.
I do.
How about now?
Oh, Natasha
Is
just
that
said
better?
your echo.
Okay. I think it's fixed. Because this is
Okay.
so important. Tosh, do I have an echo?
No.
Okay.
Good.
I think I'm fixed. All right. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they don't record their sales calls and watch them back. It's like being an athlete. You have to watch yourself back. And here are the things you need to look for. Are you really listening? Do you interrupt? Are you picking out their problems? Are you picking out their pain points? Are you using those for them? Are you looking for objections during the call? And do you have the right responses? You're not always going to have the right response to objections. That happens over time. But in our course, we give you the 10 most, the 10 top objections, and here's how we would respond to them. But each offer, each person is going to have its own objections. You have to get good at writing those down and coming up after the fact so that when you have that objection again, you know what to say for that. These are the most important things. You have to be like an athlete watching a film. You have to do that in order to get better. And if you have a coach, have them listen to it too and give you feedback. We do that for our clients all the time and get a coach. Thanks, Tasha. That's exactly
I love it. Send them all. I think
you have to be open to feedback. And you have to be
not
open to
just
feedback.
that. You're talking about recording a call, but a lot of people make the biggest mistake of all in not recording their data. How many calls have you had? What's your closing rate? Who did you follow up with? When are you following up with them next? Like people are not even tracking this, and like you're just doing this all like for nothing. It's like you're on a wheel, right? So you have to make sure that you're really tracking your data. And if you are evaluating, you are making small shifts, what's working, what's not working. So I think it's so important. Yeah, that's like really important.
Yeah, the idea too of like where we share the top most common objections, and why that's useful is if you can sort out your answers when it comes to your offer against those questions, you can turn it into a selling point. And you can, and Tanya's great at coaching around this, but like it can be something along the lines of, in the past I've had clients that before they came to me, they were concerned about X, or they were afraid of Y, or they thought Z would happen. And what they found out working with me is, and then you hit them with why they don't need to be afraid of that objection without them even mentioning it. And you don't have to call it that. You turn it into a selling point. If you know your ideal client, you already know their objections, because if you've done enough sales calls, you're going to hear it on repeat. And it typically comes down to those top 10 things that we have in the course. And so go through and kind of have your answer ready so that if it comes up, you're ready, but you can also use it to proactively sell and say, this is something that a lot of people are concerned about that I do a great job of helping with. And you lay out the objection and they're over there going, well, I was worried about that, and like, they don't have to feel awkward about asking because you just addressed it for them. So you cover it in the call like it's a positive.
Yeah, that reminds me of one more thing. It's not just about uncovering the pain points. I mean, definitely get down to it with them, but it's also about letting them paint the picture of what it looks like without that pain point. Because if you can get that picture and, that magic wand they can wave, if they were no longer XYZ, or they no longer had lead gen problems, or whatever their issue was, or they can actually lose weight on a dime and not have to work out, 30 to an hour, every day. What would that look like for them? And how would that feel? And how would that affect their life? And how would that affect their family? Like getting into that part of it and letting them paint that picture. When you wrap it all up, you're going to say like, Deb, remember when you told me that you were struggling with the lead generation and that you would just love to just be able to wake up and have leads coming in your inbox, right? Well, what if I told you I can do that for you? I can help you with that. And this is how. Well, shit. Yeah.
That's such and the inverse of that too, Tanya, right, is the one of like, if you don't do this, what's going to happen? If you don't get the solution, what's going to happen? And one of my favorite questions was in sales is, how much longer are you going to wait to have this result that you really want.
Yeah. And that's an important for the intake form. How long have you been, what's your biggest challenge? How long have you been facing this challenge? Because it's important to know that too, if it's been a really long time.
Because the time is going to pass either way, whether you work with me or not to solve your problem. The problem isn't going to go away as soon, or it would have already, and the time is going to pass. So what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for working with us? Because we're
waiting
awesome.
Listen, I call it. I've used this in social posts. We should use it again. We call it a weight loss program, but we spell weight WAIT.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't get it, but
lose the weight. Stop waiting. Lose the weight. What do you do?
Yeah.
Camille,
don't use that messaging. No idea. Don't do that, Camille.
All right, COO, stick to cash flow, okay?
I guarantee you, the people watching this got it. Just because my partners don't, y'all don't ignore it.
If you got it,
I guarantee $1,000 bonus for this month that they did not get it.
Okay.
So I'm getting the bonus, clearly, obviously.
Why? Because you agree with Alexa.
No. Come on. All right, I want to hear from the listeners. I don't think they got that.
Lose the weight. Lose the weight. That's all I'm saying. Whether they get it or not, lose the weight. WAIT.
I kind of get it now. Like, lose the weight, stop waiting. Yeah.
See, Natasha got it.
Yeah.
No, she got it after the punchline.
Yeah. Well, most.
All right, everybody. So let's summarize this, right? So sales is more than just a phone call. Sales is pre-sales call, post-sales call. There's a whole process, right, that we have to acknowledge. But you don't want to overwhelm yourself by jumping full into creating a whole full sales process, especially in the beginning of your journey, right? But you have to understand that there's a full process, and it has to be a priority. Your number one job as a CEO, especially under 6 figures, is sales. Sales, sales, sales. You have to get good at it. If you don't like it, you better start liking it. Otherwise, go back to the 9 to 5. I'm just being honest. Like, you have to get good at sales. It's really, really important. And you have to understand how important follow-up is. You have to work on your confidence. If you're not confident in your offer, you're going to suck at sales. It doesn't matter how good you are at sales. If you don't have confidence in your offer and yourself that you can do the job, you're never going to be able to sell it. So you have to work on your confidence. You have to work on your offer. You have to put an offer out that you actually feel confident in, right? If you don't feel confident in the offer you have and you don't feel like you could do it, it's never going to work, right? The other things, you have to make sure you're getting in front of the right people. If you're not in front of the right people, then you're never going to be able to sell either, right? And then you have to understand that at the end of the day, you have to look at it as a process, and you have to look at it. What are you laughing about?
Natasha, she's so funny. She goes, that really makes me want to get better now. Get better, or go back to a 9 to 5. Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, you crack me up. All right. I forgot. Whatever. All right. My summary's over because I don't even know where I left off.
If you're out there listening to us and you need help with your sales process, or you need help scaling your business, or you want us to listen to a sales call and you want to come on, maybe a free strategy.
You just want to come hang out with us because we're pretty chill.
Just come have a call.
And we're about to launch our inner circle, which I'm so excited about. So that's going to be, we've got to like chalk it up, but it's going to be inner circle at my house every quarter. So there's 10 to 15 people max. That's it. We already have 3 people in it right now. We haven't even put it out yet. We haven't even sold it. We have 3 people already in the inner circle. And it's at my house every quarter. You get the 3 of us for 3 straight days. I also have an amazing backyard, an amazing pool, and I'm in Florida. So that's going to be really exciting. But we're going to talk about these things. We're going to talk about sales and processes and really just drill down on everyone's business. It's going to be pretty awesome, and I'm really excited. We're going to hot seat. We're going to have barbecues. We're going to have wine and beer. We're going to swim. We're going to cry. We're going to hug. We're going to do everything. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, but there's a whole interview process. Like, that is not an open door policy. Like, so if you want in on that, you got to let us know, because right now we're starting with 10 spots and we already have 3 sold. So we only have 7. We haven't even put this out yet. So once I put this out to my list, it's game over. They'll be sold out. But I'm done crying. You could cry, Natasha. You could cry.
I'm pretty sure Natasha is one of the people that cried on a sales call.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Natasha probably was. But she's been strong. She hasn't cried once in like 3 months. I'm proud of her. I cry all the time, Tosh. Don't feel bad. But yeah, so that's going to be happening. It's a one-time fee and you're in for life, which is pretty cool. So that's going to be happening very soon. So I think we said May, I think is the first one that we're going to be doing. So, and we're actually partnering with a really, really big figure that you guys all know who's going to be coming. So I'm already talking to her about coming. So it's going to be awesome. So, but anyway, so we will be doing that. And if you're interested in one of those 10 spots, like I said, 3 are already sold, let me know, or Deb or Tanya, and we'll get you in on the inner circle. So
lose the weight, join the inner circle.
We're not helping you lose weight unless Camille comes and she could do a workout for us.
Spelling is definitely not the focus of the leadership team here. So I get it. It's like W-A-I-T.
Only Deb's focus.
It is. It's terrible.
Me and Lexa don't care about spelling errors. We're like,
I'm like queen of proofreading. Zone of genius, proofreading.
Oh my God. I can't.
Hey, listen, if it's not clear, anybody who's watching now realizes we are fun. We're fun to hang out with.
I'm hungry, so I need to get off this call. Because we have an 11 with our whole team. And I'm like, I've been trying to wrap this call up because I'm so
breakfast,
hungry.
Camille? Is that a good nutritional breakfast?
Oh my God. I need to hang up on this because I need to eat.
Bye,
I'm getting
everyone.
hangry. Bye.